Good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching this. It is Saturday, November 20th of 2021. I always say, how did it get so late so soon? But we are here, grateful for another Saturday with you, whoever's watching, wherever you're watching from. I hope you're doing well. Today's going to be a good one. I'm excited for this one. I have something a little bit different scheduled. What's up, Mr. Tony Dupree? Welcome, my friend. And this week, I'm going to be showing a few clips. I'm going to share my screen and show a few clips to kind of tie into today's lesson. And it's going to be talking on a lot of things about gratitude. What's up, Jim? Welcome, my man. And so while people are kind of trickling in right now, let me do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Param. I do this each and every single Saturday for the most part. I rarely ever miss unless there's something going on. The whole premise of these live streams is to provide some free education, support on the topics of addiction, mental health, communication, recovery process, boundaries, self-care, the healing journey, and a little bit of everything in between. And it is very interactive. So if you're watching this right now, feel free to write questions, leave comments. I do my best to give feedback. For example, good morning, Beta. She just popped in right now and said hi. It's something I love doing. I was doing this in person for a while, and then with the pandemic, I took it to telehealth and Zoom and Facebook Live, and here we are right now. So today, we will be talking on the topic of gratitude. And the main reason I chose to kind of talk about that today is the obvious, the elephant in the room. We have this time of year coming, the holiday season, which kind of starts off with the day that we call Thanksgiving, where a lot of people get together. And one of the concepts is to not make it about the food on the table, but about the people sitting around the table. And what I mean by the people sitting around the table is to be able to articulate and express the gratitude we have for not only the things we have in our life, but the people we have in our life. And if you're a family member watching this and you have a loved one who is struggling with the disease of alcoholism, addiction, if you've been going through the codependency process yourself and today you have a little bit of relief from that, gosh, that's something to be so grateful for, because if you just close your eyes, take a walk down memory lane to a time when your loved one was using or you were really struggling with the codependent cycle, and those were some really bad days, and if you're currently going through that, I hope the people watching this, the ones that watch this on a regular basis, are able to kind of give a little bit of hope to you, because we do come to the other side as long as we stay committed to our own recovery. So I'm going to show you 3 videos for a total of like 12 or 14 minutes. It's not, they're not long videos, but the first video I have is I really wanted to, and I've been showing this video, by the way, for like 7 or 8 years. Okay. But I really wanted to find, how does gratitude and the expression of gratitude actually impact the mood or the thoughts of the individual? Because a lot of therapists and counselors and clinicians like myself will tell somebody, hey, just get into gratitude. Where's your gratitude at? Have you sat down and thought about the things you're grateful for? But the follow-up question from the individual is like, why? What's the point of doing that? What's the benefit I will get from expressing my gratitude? And, a group of researchers, they did a little study, a study of gratitude, an experiment in gratitude. And what they did was they conducted a pre and post-test survey to see if the expression of gratitude had a positive or any type of impact on the mood and the feelings of the individual. And the way they did this was through the following exercise, which I'm going to show you, but I'll kind of map it for you, frame it for you so you know what you're watching. They asked some random individuals to think about the person, man, woman, person, who was the most influential in their lives. So the most influential person in their lives. And they told them to sit down and write a letter of why that person was so influential. And once they completed that exercise, they were prompted to and suggested to pick up the phone and call that person and to let them know why they were so influential. And once the exercise completed, they went through, and I'll show you guys what happens here, because I think it's a very powerful exercise. I've just learned how to share my screen with you. So 2 years into the pandemic, I am becoming tech savvy and that's okay. So let's see. So here's the first video. Sit back, relax. It's about 7 minutes long, and I'll come in and kind of talk about what we just watched right now. So Chrome tab. Here we go.
What? Wait.
Oh, he's gonna be so embarrassed.
What makes you happy? Having fun? Hanging out with friends? Delicious food? Making money? Well, consider this. Psychologists have scientifically proven that one of the greatest contributing factors to overall happiness in your life is how much gratitude you show. Yeah? Think about that. Go ahead and marinate on it for a second. You can thank me later if you want. It'll make you feel better according to this study. You go ahead and click on it and read it if you want. Or you can keep watching because we read it. We thought it might be fun to test out for ourselves. We gathered a selection of volunteers to act as our subjects. First, we gave them a test. They didn't know what we were looking for, but it gave us a pretty good idea of their current level of happiness. We asked them to close their eyes and think of somebody who was really influential in their life, somebody who did something really amazing or important for them. We had them write down as much as they could about why this person was so important. Now, a lot of them thought at this point the experiment was over, until we really put them on the spot and tried to get them to call that person and read what they wrote about them. Thank you, Jessica. We're gonna have you call your mother. So who is that right person for you?
Person is my sister, Erica.
We're gonna give Erica a call.
Okay.
Who'd you end up picking?
Friend of mine, Craig Ains. Her name is Dora.
My college accounting instructor.
Really? Is this somebody you're still in touch with today?
No, I'm assuming that he's passed on.
That's a
To
shame.
the great beyond.
You up for it?
Yes.
What would you say if we called up Dora?
Oh, well, we can try, but she lives in Sweden.
In Britain?
I don't know a number by heart, dude. This is awful.
That's fine. I don't know my mom's number by her.
If it's true that those who are going on are looking down on us, maybe he read my chicken scratch.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
You got a second? Where you at, in the hotel?
I am. I'm in the hotel. You scared me when you asked if I had a second something's wrong.
No, I'm on like this little TV show, and they told me to talk about the person that influenced me the most, and I picked you, and they're making me call you. They're making me call you.
Oh, wonderful!
Hi, you've reached Craig. I'm not here right now.
At the tone, please record your message.
Oh, come on.
Hello?
Hi,
Hi.
Erica. It's me.
All right, so I got to read you this paragraph. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead,
All right.
sweetheart.
All right. The person that influenced me the most would be my mother, Marlo Dawson. She is a single mother of 2. She is a very hard worker and dedicated to her family.
Hey, Craig. This is Loie. This is going to be a funny little voicemail, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm so sorry for calling you at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have to read this to you, okay? And you can't say anything, or I don't know. You can respond, but I probably will just keep going. Okay?
Is everything okay?
Yes, but I have to read this out loud to you.
The person who has had the biggest impact on my life outside of Jesus Christ, who is responsible for my existence, was my college accounting instructor. He had a joy and enthusiasm for his job like no other teacher I have ever known.
I love her to death, and she keeps me going with positive talk. She is a woman that knows what she wants and won't give up until it is achieved.
Oh, something. I don't know what. I'm about to cry because it's so beautiful. I have to say that it's wonderful.
I first met Craig on an independent feature film set in Whitefish, Montana. I recently have been sending Craig a lot of positive thoughts as he suffered a series of health problems. Despite his medical problems, he's continued to work and take pleasure in the small things in life, like sitting quietly with his wife Janine on the porch. Erica is my older sister and my best friend. Sometimes it even feels like we are twins. She's my #1 fan and my #1 supporter. She makes me happy because despite all my mistakes and my decisions, she still loves me no matter what. Your friendship is everything.
And you are one of the most important person in my life.
Even when she has a kid and many children, I will love her more than her kids. Okay, maybe not. I will never forget when she flew 3,000 miles at the drop of a phone call to save me from a breakup.
I'm being blessed to have a son like you. I love you.
Bye.
Why did you do this?
I don't know, because they made me do it.
Thank you for picking up. Bye, sweetie.
And then they're like, here, you're gonna write this letter. And then I wrote like this whole long ass letter, which, you know, I like don't write. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, guess what? Now we're gonna call her and you're gonna read her this letter. And I was like, what the
Before we let them go, we gave our subjects one more happiness test. Now, we mixed up and rephrased the questions so they didn't know they were taking the same test twice. For those who took the time to actually write something down but couldn't make the phone call for whatever reason, we saw happiness increase between 2 and 4%. Good, but not exactly mind-blowing. Now, for those who actually picked up the phone and personally expressed their gratitude, we saw increases between 4 and 19%. So either way, expressing your gratitude will make you a happier person. But you want to know something really interesting? The person who experienced the biggest jump in happiness was the least happy person who walked.
So, the one thing right here is I want you guys to know what we just watched there. So let's just recap that. My therapist hat is going back on real quick. And like I said, you know, counselors like Tony and Jim and myself, we tell family members and program participants to tap into gratitude. Just tap into it. It helps so much. And sometimes the individual doesn't understand why, what's the reasoning for it. And this exercise just showed something that's really profound, that it showed that just by grabbing a pen and paper and writing down your gratitude for someone who's been influential in your life, you can get a happiness spike from 2 to 4%, which isn't that much, right? But if you actually grab that letter, pick up the phone and call that person and read them that letter, your happiness can go anywhere from 4 to 18% increase in that level of happiness. Now, for a lot of people that watch this and they might, you know, engage in substance use, maybe they drink something to get a little relief. Maybe they smoke something to get a little relief. Maybe they take a pill to take a little bit of relief. If they do that, that's all we're looking for is a little bit of head change. So gratitude allows us to get that head change in a way that doesn't harm us. And also it has a positive, profound impact on the life of somebody else. So now that I got that first video through, and I like to show stuff, and when people see it, they're like, okay, well, that's cool, but it's just not for me. Or those people were on a TV show and they kind of got coached and helped, and that's why it affected them a certain way. So maybe you don't want to do that. Right. So far, the homework assignment for you watching this, whether you're a family member of a loved one or someone who's struggling with addictions yourself, is during this holiday time to think of someone who's been the most influential in your life. And by the way, I'm not practicing something. I'm not preaching something I don't practice. My mom and dad, which are probably watching this, I've done the same group years ago in a seminar for them. And I got up and I picked up a piece of paper and I read it to both of them, my brother too also. So it does work. It actually overflew me with emotions, and it also impacted them positively. So I do practice this stuff myself. I'm not just telling people. So your homework assignment, if you're watching this, is to grab a pen and paper this week. Think of the people in your life that have been the most influential. Write to them why they've been so influential. And if you have the courage, if you have the willingness, if you have the motivation to pick up the phone and call them, you can anticipate an increase in happiness for yourself, let alone what it does for them. So if you don't want to do that, which is okay, it's your right. You know me, I'm like super laissez-faire. It's like, if you want to do it, it's cool. If you don't, you don't. None of my business. There are people that have tried this exercise, and I'm going to show you a video. This one's shorter. It's only 5 minutes long. And I want you to watch this one. So I'm going to go back to tech savvy hat that knows how to share a computer screen finally after 2 years. And I'm going to share with you the next video of people who watched the same video that we just watched, and they took it one step further and they did something about it. And then we're going to talk about what we saw there, because there's some profound effects.
Oh my goodness.
You guys delivered. After our first experiment on gratitude, we asked you guys for video responses. And you guys delivered. So take a look at what we did with it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I literally just watched the piece you did on happiness.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, Grandpa.
Hey, Caleb, how you doing, buddy?
I was crying while I was watching it.
So today in class, I had my students write a letter of the person that they were influenced by the most, and they were supposed to read it to that person. And I did the same thing, so I'm going to read you the letter, okay?
Well, I wanted to read you something, okay?
All right, appreciate it.
Are you ready?
I'm not gonna cry.
Mom, I would like you to know that out of almost everyone I know, you have and continue to be the person who has influenced me the most. One of my first memories is resting my head on your belly and wanting to know why it was so big and yet so hard. I remember you saying, your baby brother is in there. I also remember thinking, she must love us a lot to let us stretch out her belly like that.
My grandpa is one of the most influential people in my life.
Mom, your name is Evelyn Gillum, who is destined to be with me, Jasmine Gillum, 22 years and some months ago. You weren't expecting this message today, but I wanted you to know that I appreciate all you have done for me.
I was calling to let you know how influential you have been in my life and how grateful I am to be so lucky to call you my grandpa.
Had it not been for you reading to me every night, I doubt I would have loved to read so much.
I may be lost at this age, but I'm so glad I have you as my mother to be my guide here on earth.
He has always supported me in what I do, and he loves me unconditionally.
You have touched my soul in ways you couldn't imagine. I'm not crying. I am. Okay.
Had it not been for dancing around the living room to jock jams, I doubt I ever would have been able to have fun looking like an idiot.
I know how much you've been through the past couple of years with Susie Q and Grandma. But you have been the rock that held the family together and the ray of light through the clouds.
And is a father figure to me and my two brothers. I thank God that he has blessed me with such an amazing grandpa.
But most importantly, had it not been for your tearful plea a year and a half ago, I know I would have never seen the dire need for me to seek healing. Without you, I would have continued on, thinking I was perfectly healthy, while my disease continued to wrap its fingers around my life.
Who has inspired me to do what is right and to never lose one's integrity.
You are a rock. You are a true picture of grace, mercy, and love.
You're such a stand-up pops and one of the most inspiring human beings I have ever met. I love you to the moon and back, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life.
I love you and I commend you for being the woman you are, the person you continue to grow into each day.
Oh, that's so cute,
Over and out.
Oh my gosh, that's the best anyone can ever give anyone. You just made my day. You made my 91 years worth of living.
Hello.
Okay.
Oh.
So thank you, Grandpa, for being my grandpa and loving me. I love you.
Oh my goodness. What a wonderful thing.
Thank
Well,
you.
I got tears in my eyes, buddy.
I do too.
I love you.
Oh, that's great.
I gotta.
Thanks for calling and I really love you.
I do, Grandpa.
I was watching this video on Soul Pancake, and these people wrote a letter about who's influenced them the most. And I was like, my mom is that person. And they said, make a video and upload it. And so that's what I'm doing.
Well, so let me get back over here. So yeah, that was the video of people actually watching a video like we just watched and taking it one step further and getting into action. So not just saying, oh, that's really cool, that was nice to watch, it made me feel good, but saying, hey, how can I recreate that in my own life? And probably the most profound statement of that whole video, probably this whole live stream, this one, is this granddaughter says, okay, I want to write a letter to the most influential person in my life. And that person happened to be her grandfather. So she grabs a pen, grabs a paper, and starts writing things that are true, things that are real, things that actually happened in her life. She doesn't have to make it up. She just acknowledges her grandfather for who he has been in her life and what he's gone through and how he's been so influential. It takes her probably 3 to 5 minutes to write that letter, right? Then she grabs the phone and calls the grandfather and reads that letter to him. And you could tell there's a lot of emotions going on. You could tell that there's a lot of, realness going on, rawness going on. And by the time it's over, the grandfather says something, and that's what I mean by the most profound statement. He says, sweetheart, you just made my day. You just made my 91 years here on earth worthwhile. You just made my 91 years here on earth worthwhile. That's all it takes for us to positively impact another human being. And remember, not only does the grandfather take away that moment, but the granddaughter feels significantly more happy after doing that. Like those people were genuinely laughing through emotions. And that's the kind of stuff that we all need to experience. So hopefully those two videos inspired somebody that's watching this to say, you know what? I think I'm going to give that a try. And my prayer is that you do it. So let me just go through, talk about 6 or 7 scientifically proven positive effects of gratitude. And number 1 is gratitude opens the door for more relationships. So something as simple as saying thank you to somebody, and something as simple as saying, I appreciate you, I acknowledge you to somebody, it warms up that relationship. It enriches that relationship, and it allows more space, more capacity, more room for growth within that relationship, because people love to feel acknowledged, appreciated, seen, heard, felt, loved. And gratitude allows that, right? And the next one is gratitude improves physical health. So there's no beyond, data proves that people that are more grateful have less problems with physical pain. They have less problems with the way they sleep. They have less problems with the way their body organs function, their circulation works. And also, if you wake up in the morning and say, God, I'm so grateful for my hands today. I'm so grateful for my eyes today. I'm so grateful for my neck today. I'm so grateful for my legs today. I'm so grateful for my heart today. That human being tends to follow suit with making sure they take care of their hands, their neck, their legs, their arms, their heart throughout that day. When you're grateful for something, you shine a light on it and you make sure you take advantage of what it is that you have. But unfortunately, we lose that. Science has proven that gratitude improves psychological health. Because where does a lack of psychological health come from for many of us? It comes from not being satisfied with what we have and always wanting something more. That's like the baseline of human dissatisfaction, by the way. As a licensed therapist, you know how many men and women I've seen, different ages, from little to old, that come and sit in front of me, and they're dissatisfied with their life because whatever they have, they don't want, and they think they need something else to make them happy. So when you get into gratitude, which means to be grateful for what you have in your life currently, not for what you don't have in your life, the psychological benefits that the human being experience is reduced anxiety, more peace, more calm, contentment, fulfillment, happiness, joy. the opposites of why people walk into a therapy office. So gratitude improves psychological health. There's multiple studies that have proven that, by the way. Gratitude enhances empathy and reduces aggression. So what is empathy? Empathy is being able to put yourself in the shoes, in the world, in the view of another human being, and doing what you can to experience what they're experiencing in their realm, in their world. When you're able to do that through gratitude, you're able to get into empathy. What happens to aggression, to anger? It starts to subside because your perception, your perspective, your worldview changes, right? Your worldview dissolves, it changes, and anger goes away. And yeah, actually, Tony just said something here. Let me put this comment up because this actually goes with what I just talked about. He said, not to mention the chemical release of endorphins and serotonin, which are feel-good chemicals in the brain. So when we feel good, we tend to also be less aggressive. We tend to also be less, confrontational with people. And so absolutely right, man. That's the neural pathways of the brain are impacted through gratitude. And Jim said, to stay right size, I do gratitude list daily. And it's one of the most important things he does. So, if you guys are watching this as a family member, I hope you know that these gentlemen that are writing these comments are very experienced, not just with clinical work, but, their own personal healing and recovery journey. And for someone to say, Jim here, 17 years later, that I do a daily gratitude list, in order to remain right size and not, let his ego get bigger than his head and all that kind of stuff, and to stay humble, which is one of the most important things of the program. To say he does it daily, if you're watching this, my question would be, okay, well, why does this person do it daily? I mean, are they getting something out of it that's benefiting their recovery? Who does anything daily if they don't get something out of it, right? So my question would be, hey, why is he doing it? So maybe you should ask him one day, because I do know that these gentlemen writing these comments are pretty grateful for in their recovery. So the next one here, number 5, is grateful people sleep better. It says writing in a gratitude journal improves sleep, according to a 2011 study published in Applied Psychology, Health and Well-Being. Spend just 15 minutes jotting down a few grateful sentiments before bed, and you may sleep better and longer. Yeah, I'm like, hey, Jim, why would you do it? And here's a question. It works. Simple. Thank you. It does work. It helps with so much things, man. And so, yeah. And by the way, if you want to know, the Journal of Applied Psychology is a real journal. So if they're publishing the impact of gratitude in sleep, then I would probably take their word for it, because they've done enough research to be able to prove that. Gratitude improves self-esteem. I'm big on esteemable acts. And when you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel good about the reflection looking back at you, you start to feel better about the person you are. A person that feels better about the person they are is a person that's much more in line and in tune with being full of gratitude and finding gratitude where other people fail to do so. So this is huge. This is not something I plan to talk about, but I will talk about it right now. When you feel good about yourself, you're able to get in a situation, and someone else that doesn't feel good about themselves, they get in the same situation. You know what the difference is? The one that has self-esteem, the one that feels good, is able to, despite of their circumstances, find something, the silver lining, something in that moment, even if it's a tough moment, to hold on to be grateful for. And a person that's not feeling good about themselves, has a negative outlook, is pessimistic, finds everything that is wrong in that moment, in that situation, in that circumstance. And that is life. We all experience life. It's just, how do you look at it? And gratitude is the lens that allows us to look through very challenging moments. And lastly, gratitude increases mental strength, which is also, I like to call it as resiliency. It's resilience follows. It's just something that, it's a trait that you got to practice. The more gratitude you practice, the more resilient you become, because there's nothing that life can throw at you that you can't take on. Nothing that life can throw at you that you can't take on. But it's a muscle that has to be worked out. So, I got one last video here. It's a short one. It's like 2 minutes long. The counselors, they've seen me. Whenever I do some of my personal development stuff, I throw this one in once in a while. So the starting question of today was, hey, has there been someone influential in your life? Are you willing to write down a few positive things about that person? Are you willing to pick up the phone and call that person? Now, some people will say, yes, that's easy, I'll do it. Some people will say, yes, that's easy, but I'll do it later. Some people will say, no, that's too difficult. Well, if not now, when? So if you don't want to do it now, when do you want to do it? Do you want to do it later this afternoon? Do you want to do it tomorrow? Do you want to do it next week? Do you want to do it next month? Do you want to do it next year? That's, again, laissez-faire, man. I'm to each their own. None of my business when you choose to take action in your life. It really is none of my business. But I will tell you this, as a counselor and a therapist, I've dealt with a lot of human beings that have come to me and say, I wish I had just one more moment with my loved one in my life to tell them what I needed to tell them. They have this thing called the coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? Because how the heck do we know if we have that one day? And if you think you might have it, how do you know if that person that's been influential in your life, that deserves to hear the profound impact they have had in your life, is going to be around that day that you all of a sudden have the motivation, energy, willingness to be able to say what you want to say to them? So in order to highlight and capture this sense of urgency that I'm talking about, I have one more video, 2 minutes long, to show you. I'm going to go tech savvy for the third time today. This is a record. I've never gone tech savvy 3 times in one day, but it's all about evolution and growth. So here we go. Video, share screen. Got you. Here we go.
These are roughly 28,835 jelly beans. I counted out 500 of them and used those to weigh the rest. In this pile, there's one jelly bean for each day that the average American will live. You might have more beans in your life, or maybe less, but on average, this is the time we have. Here's a single bean. It's your very first day. A special day, but kind of a rough day on everyone involved. Add 364 more and you have the first year of your life. Now, for a sense of scale, here are your first 15 years, 5,475 days, which brings us to the threshold of adulthood. And at that moment, this is the time that we have left. And this is, on average, what we will do with all that time. We will be asleep for a total of 8,477 days. If we're lucky, some of that time we'll be sleeping next to someone we love. We will be in the process of eating, drinking, or preparing food for 1,635 days. We'll be at work, hopefully doing something satisfying, for the equivalent of 3,202 of those days. 1,099 days will be spent commuting or traveling from one place to another, maybe a little bit more if you live in LA. On average, we will watch television in one form or another for a total of 2,676 days. Household activities like chores and tending to our pets and shopping will take another 1,576 days. And we will care for the needs and well-being of others, our friends and family, for 564 days. We'll spend 671 days bathing, grooming, and doing all other bathroom-related activities. And another 720 days will go to community activities like religious and civic duties, charities, and taking classes. After we remove all those beans, this is what remains. This is the time that we have left. Time for laughing, swimming, making art, going on hikes, text messages, reading, checking Facebook, playing softball, maybe even teaching yourself how to play the guitar. So what are you going to do with this time? How much of it do you think you've already used up? If you only had half of it, what would you do differently? What about half of that? How much time have you already spent worrying instead of doing something that you love? What if you just had one more day? What are you going to do today?
All right, I'm back. I don't think there's a video that captures the sense of urgency that we experience in life like the jelly bean video. The first time I showed that was honestly probably like 10 years ago. But So going back to the assignment of finding out the one influential or few influential people in your life and writing down a few things to express your gratitude to them during these holiday seasons. If not now, when? And if you're banking on sometime in the future, how can you be so sure that there's going to be that jelly bean for yourself or for them available? You know it's available right now. So why not take action on it and do something about it? So this was a really, really powerful talk, because I think that this time of year we start to focus about the food and the gifts a little bit too much, and we forget that without the people, none of that stuff matters. And sometimes we get really stingy with our love. So if anybody has any comments on the side, if you want to share anything, feel free to share. I would love to hear like what the impact of this talk was for you. Love to hear it. And if anybody wants to pop on and talk, on a split screen, there is a link right there. You can click on the link and come talk to me if you want. And thank you, Eileen. So much grateful in this moment, and grateful for you also for being a part of this for as long as you have been. I know this was a group that I hadn't done before, so I'm glad that you are still finding value and coming back on a regular basis. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm happy that I do this, and grateful that I get to do this with you guys. So if anybody else has any thoughts, comments, feedback, if there's anything you want talks on, feel free to go. Absolutely, Tony. I'm grateful for my daughter for giving me an opportunity to becoming a father. How about that? That's a very powerful and a different twist of saying things. It just didn't leave it. I'm grateful for my daughter. There was a second line there that allowed him to become a father. And you're a good father, Tony. Great father. I've seen you in action for 6 years now straight. You're relentless with it. And Jim, good topic. Good job. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have you not only here, but every day at work, Jim. And anyone else that doesn't want to write comments, I know a lot of people watch this later in recording. Feel free to share this with whoever you want. My links are always shareable. And I got to share this one too. This is so Tony's daughter, Maddie, just she's like, hello, it is Maddie. And I love my daddy. That's what's up, Maddie? Hope you have a good holiday. Your daddy loves you too. I want you to know that. Right on. Well, this is wonderful. So I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your effort, your attention, the gift of human attention. I will be back next week, same time, same place, getting ready to finish off this 2021 strong and go into 2022 with you even better. So have a wonderful weekend. Be safe and talk soon. Bye, everyone.